What's up, pet people? My name is Lexia, and today we're going to be going over if ball pythons make a good beginner reptile or not. Now, when doing this, I'm going to go into 5 subcategories. We're going to do handleability, care, hardiness, upfront cost, and overall availability of the reptile itself. Now, with each of these subcategories, I'm going to give a score, and then at the end, I'm going to give an overall score to if I think that ball pythons make good beginner reptiles. If you're interested in this, please keep watching, and if you're not, you still might learn something, so keep watching. Okay, so getting right into the video, I am joined by Monty here today. You can't really see her face. She's kind of hiding, but I'm joined by Monty here today, and this is actually where we're going to start off with handleability. So the first thing about ball pythons, as you can see, is they are very amazing with handling. So much so that I would even trust a child handling a ball python, honestly. Obviously, if they're dropping it or startling it too much, then it would not be ideal, but they don't startle very easily. Like, she doesn't like having her head touched, but that's about it. Overall, the handling, they're wonderfully sized. This is a full-grown female ball python. Her name is Monty. I'm going to do a video on her later on. They're not likely to bite or strike. I have, whenever I first, she's like in the back of my hair. Whenever I first started working with her, she did, oh, she's coming around. There we go. She did false strike me a couple of times, and she did also try to bite me once, but that was honestly just because she was in very bad living conditions, and she was very scared, very underweight, very malnourished, startled. Like, she probably honestly would have done that to anyone, not just me in particular. She is all the way in my hair right now. Not just me in particular, but as you can see, they're very decently sized. They're not likely to bite. They're not likely to, like, strike you. She is older, and she has some problems seeing. One of her eyes has a cataract, so it's, like, glazed over. So that's the only reason she's kind of jumpy whenever I touch near her head. But in reality, no ball python genuinely likes being touched in the head. They might be okay with it, but I don't think any snake likes being touched in the head area. But yeah, as you can see, they're pretty great with handling. They're not easily startled. They're very decently sized, so it's not like to where one person can't handle them on their own. Very decently sized. Larger breeds of pythons and boas obviously can become hard or even dangerous to handle on your own. She is fine to handle on your own. Most ball pythons are. Even baby ball pythons are pretty moderately sized, so you don't have to worry about losing them particularly. Yeah, handling is great with these guys, as you can see. Going straight from, you can kind of see her cataract on this side if you look closely. Going from handling onto hardiness of the reptile, handling is a 5 out of 5 for these reptiles, because they're so easy to handle, and I definitely think it's the easiest part about them. It definitely makes the other stuff worth it a little bit more, in my opinion, which leads us into hardiness. Now, they're not the most hardy snakes. Like, as I said in my Western hognose beginner snake video, they're incredibly hardy. Ball pythons, I would have to give her a 3.5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5. So either a 3.5 or a 4. Now, the thing with that is they are hardy if they have things that normal snakes need, so they really only need, you know, to have a set temperature, and then they really only need to have their water at all set times. The thing about ball pythons is that they do need a set humidity. Unlike some other snakes, like the Western hognose, it doesn't really need a set higher humidity. And the temperature, hognoses can be housed in, you know, ambient air temperature, can be about normal house temperature settings can get down into the like 60s because at night the desert and hognoses. But anyway, besides that, ball pythons need an ambient temperature of 70 to 80 degrees, and they need a basking spot of 88 to 90 degrees. So, oh, she did not like me moving her tail. So they need a little more watching and a little bit more just paying attention to than snakes such as, oh, she's just going all over, guys. They definitely need to be watched more closely than snakes like hognoses or milk snakes when it comes to things like that. But you do definitely need to make sure that they have water at all times and that they do have a set temperature. If the temperature gets too low, it can really, really hurt them. If the, temperature gets too high, it can also really, really hurt them. Those are some things you need to watch where you might not necessarily need to watch them with other animals. A lot of people think you can just buy a ball python and stick it in any old glass enclosure and it'll be fine. That's not the case with these guys. They need more attention than what they're advertised with. So again, as I said, I would give her Hardiness a 3.5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5. Overall, I think I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 5 just because the idea of having to devote more time to a reptile might not be as appetizing or might not be as appealing to people as a reptile such as a hognose that you don't have to go and check consistently if the ambient air temperature is okay for the reptile. You still have to watch that for hognoses and all other reptiles, but not as closely as a ball python. Now, that kind of goes into care. The hardiness and care kind of go together. So, as far as care, I'm actually going to give them a 3 out of 5. And that's just because ball pythons are incredibly picky eaters. They're such picky eaters, and that makes it makes it quite difficult, especially whenever you have a younger ball python that you are just introducing to frozen mice, or if they've been only known to have live mice, it would be hard to transition them. I was able to transition her very easily and quickly because she was so starved and so skinny that she just automatically took to eating frozen mice, which is very weird for a ball python. So that's not going to be the case for all of them, but they are very picky eaters. Another thing that ball pythons are known for is like I said, they have to have a specific humidity and temperature. If the temperature is not right, they won't shed right, they might not eat, they might just not want to do anything. Whereas if the humidity is not right, they're shedding. Ball pythons are known to have issues with shedding if they even have a couple, percentage points off of the humidity. She also had a lot of issues with shedding, and we're just now getting back to where she can finally get all of her sheds off. She used to have a lot around her face, but she doesn't now. We finally have all of that under control, which is great. I feel great about that. But a thing that ball pythons are known for that, again, is not advertised with them is that they shed a lot of times in flakes, which can be a problem in getting all of it off, and it can also be a problem on tracking when your ball python began shedding and when it ended shedding and if it's still in shed, and it causes a lot of problems. So you need to make sure you have the proper humidity for the ball python. Honestly, do not drop below 50 at all. I don't like dropping below 52%. Oh, her little face. I do not like dropping below 52% humidity, but between 50, baby. Oh, she's stuck in my hair. Okay, dropping below 50% humidity, definitely don't do, but if you can keep it in the 55 to the 60% humidity range, that would be wonderful. That's what is recommended for them, and it just it makes them happy. It makes sure they can shed, and makes sure that they are, functioning and doing well. So yeah, as I said, for care, you don't have to watch it as much as you would with, like I said, a hognose. You don't have to watch humidity really at all. Or with, I mean, the humidity can be too high with a hognose, which is a problem. And it can also be too high for ball pythons. But making sure that they have a specific maintained humidity, you don't really have to do with snakes such as ball pythons and milk snakes as actively as you should with ball pythons. So, yeah, like I said, care, I'm just gonna, sorry, I keep feeling her move in my hair, and I don't want her to get stuck or anything, since she can't see out of that one eye. It can be scary. But, yeah, care, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a 3. They can be housed, you know, relatively cheaply, but overall they do need large enclosures. I have her in the vision enclosure from the last 2 videos, and you know, it's holding her humidity greatly, which is really hard to do in our environment where I live. She just is thriving in there. It's the good size for her. She has hides, which ball pythons need because they're very timid animals. Like, they don't like being out in the open, which is one of the reasons that glass enclosures are not recommended for them. There's just a lot of things you need to take into consideration when you are caring for a ball python. And I understand they're sold as like beginner animals, but because of the amount of care that they have that is not really explained, I definitely think I would give it a 3, as I said, for care. So, you know, caring for them isn't as easy as it seems. Where's she at now? Oh, she's on my lower back. We're good. Anyway, so with the enclosures, as I said, you have to think about what kind of enclosure you're going to put them in. So that kind of goes into the pricing. Now, upfront pricing of a ball python is pretty good. Like, you can pretty much find, you know what, we're just going to do pricing and availability together. Pricing, I definitely give it a 3 out of 5, and then availability, a 5 out of 5. With ball pythons, they're pretty moderately priced, and they're found everywhere. If you go to a reptile convention, ball pythons everywhere of any morph and, you know, type you can think of, any color almost within reason. Like, they even have light purple looking ones now. They have orange, yellow. They can do pretty much any color of ball python that you can think of. For some reason, they've made it. And because of that, they're widely available. Like, you can buy one that looks like her, obviously a baby, at pretty much any pet store. Any normal pet store you go to, if they sell reptiles, there's gonna be a ball python there. That's just how it is. They're widely available and cheaply priced, which means a lot of people are gonna want to buy them. And that's cool, you know. Ball pythons are great to have. It's wonderful if you want a ball python, but if you want to look at housing prices for a ball python, you need to greatly consider your options, because they can be kept in glass enclosures, but that makes it incredibly hard to maintain a specific humidity, especially if they have one of the screen tops. They're incredibly hard to maintain a decent humidity. Where are you at? Okay, they're incredibly hard to maintain a decent humidity with that. Whereas rack systems can be more expensive. You need obviously more than one. It can be relatively easy to maintain humidity through those, and the correct temperature, you know, temperature can be easy to do if you have heat mats or, you know, heat tape, or if you have a basking bulb or things like that. You just need to consider the different options and see which type of enclosure would hold the temperature and humidity best. As I said, there's rack systems with the tubs, there's glass enclosures, there's vision enclosures, which is like the one I have her in, which is kind of a hybrid glass and rack tub thing in my opinion, because obviously the exterior of it is plastic, and then it has the front glass doors for viewing. Some people Some people may be a little bit more judgmental if you buy a reptile and have it in a tub system or rack. I personally see no problem with that if you're doing it properly. You know, not everyone has reptiles to view. Sometimes they like them for breeding. Sometimes, oh, you're back there. Hi, baby. I think she's getting scared. No, yeah, no, she just got caught in my hair. She was jerking around for a minute there. But glass enclosures are more for the viewing of it. Like I said, I kind of have a hybrid system, so I can, you know, take care of her and she feels safe in the enclosure and not, you know, out in the open like glass enclosures sometimes make reptiles feel. The enclosure depends on, you know, what you want as a preference and if you're able to maintain what they need. But one thing you do need to consider with every enclosure you get is that they don't always stay the little itty bitty ball python size. Obviously, they don't always stay the little itty bitty ball python size. Look how big she is. She's a pretty decently sized reptile. So they will need larger enclosures in the end. And they grow pretty quickly. Like in their first year, they grow very, very quickly. So you're not going to be able to buy a 20-gallon glass enclosure and keep her in that for the entire first year. You're going to have to size up, or you're going to have to start her off in a medium or bigger enclosure. You have to think about all these things and the pricing down the road. Of course, you're going to need hides and enrichment, such as, you know, the fake plants that I have in there. You're going to need water dishes large enough for them. It's just a wide variety of things that a lot of people don't think about that I think make ball pythons a little bit more expensive, especially with how quickly they grow and the enclosure size upgrade that you'll need. It's just something a lot of people don't think about, so that's why I'm giving it a 3 out of 5, because again, with the enclosure upgrades, you are going to need to spend a decent amount of money. She's back in my hair again. And are you stuck? Oh yeah, she's stuck. Hold on. We have her in a tangle, guys. Ah. Wow. There we go. There we go. She's not stuck anymore. So anyway, yeah, just once again going over all of those. I think I covered all of the points. Handleability, 5 out of 5. Obviously, she's doing great. Care, we're going to give it a... I'm just going to go ahead and give it a 3. Hardiness, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 instead of a 4. Pricing, 3. And then availability, obviously a 5 out of 5. You can buy these guys absolutely anywhere that they sell reptiles, which, you know, can be a problem. But if you want one, it makes it easier to do that. So, yeah. Overall rating, I'm going to go ahead and give a ball python a 3.5, because if you average care and hardiness and things like that, you're not the easiest snake in the world to take care of. I love you very much, but you're not. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this isn't my normal outro, but I already have her out and don't want to have to restart the camera, so we're just going to do the outro. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you learned something about ball pythons, their care, or just, you know, if you want a ball python, I hope I was able to help you decide ultimately if you're going to get one or not. I absolutely love her. She was not mine originally, but like I said, I've been working with her and helping rehabilitate her and care for her, and I can't think of not having her now. They're just such great temperament. They have a great temperament. They're amazing to handle, and they're just wonderful, wonderful reptiles if you can look over the fact that you might have to put a little bit more time into caring for them, and that you might have to put a little bit more money into their enclosure. If you can look over those facts, they are amazing animals. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I hope you learned something. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't, you watched it all the way through, so go ahead and give it a thumbs up anyway. Please subscribe to the channel as well. We're going to have another fun video next week. Maybe about her, maybe not. I might be showing you some of the other scaly babies. Either way, please stay tuned for that video, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's. See you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!